Okay, good evening. Today the theme is transgression. I will talk how design is every time connected with the context where we operate, and how such kind of transgression became different according with different period where I started working in design at the end of the 80s, and this is our studio in Milan. And if we consider the object of desire in the 70s, this kind of object were objects like status symbol. For example, the big car like Jaguar and Mercedes, or the golden Rolex, the church, and the Ray-Ban, the Frau armchair. So a system of objects that express your social status. Showing this object to the people that you know, it means that you have money, you have a social career, you have a social status, and so on. In the 70s, we had a big changing. So we had the 16/8, which was a period of general contestation, new movement arrived. Also in design, we had the radical movement. We have a sort of revolution in our context. So we have the first, not only the political movement, but also some people, rich people were kept, also young people from, and rich people don't want to appear like in the 70s. So in the new rich generation, for the new bourgeois generation, the big car were not allowed anymore in the 70s, and the young bourgeois prefer a car more like the Golf, more not so appealing. Or instead of the golden Rolex, we had the Swatch, or the casual instead of the English style, Memphis furniture, and the Timberland instead of the church. So the world of the object changed dramatically, and we had not anymore object like status symbol, but this object were style symbol. Style symbol is an object that show you have culture, you know what happened in the world, and so on. But when I started in design, also such kind of approach became a little bit false, because I thought object that has not to show anymore your social status, they have not to show you anymore you have culture, but object that has a particular affective relation with yourself. So from Girotondo to Super and Popular. The Girotondo was my first industrial design product. I had a meeting with Alberto Alessi through Alessandro Mendini introduced me to the company, and in the end of the 80s, these were the most the best-selling product of the company. So the kettle of Michael Graves on the right, the kettle of Richard Sappert on the left, and Philip Stark lemon juicer in the middle. This object were so much design, very expressive object with very strong sign. What I did in the beginning was to go in a completely different direction. If probably I follow the master of design, probably for a young designer was something who replicate the lesson of the master. What I did was to go in a completely different direction. So instead of designing the object, I take a very simple tray, a tray that you can find in any department store. And the only thing I did was to cut on the edge of the tray the shape of a little man. So in this context, the little man looks like a child that give the hand. So it was a very positive message. But this project seems very simple, but was I think, the most clever project ever made in the design context. And it's not a case that after many years I discovered Joe Ponti did, when he was 33 years old, so the same age of me, a very similar project, never published, called Pony, and was a little man that was declined to become a wide family of products, very similar to Girotondo. So when Alberto Alessi called us to the company, he asked to design, to try to design some object. One of them was a tray. And 2 days after, the Girotondo tray came out. It was an attempt to connect the design with popular culture. Design and popular culture was two factors, which was completely opposite. Because design and figurative language was completely opposite. The figurative language was connected with popular culture. If you see the house of the common people, there are a lot of this kind of kitsch souvenir with shape of man, plants, animal. But the modern movement pushed all this figurative approach into the kitsch area. So my intention was to repropose the figurative in sense of connecting it to the popular approach, to the popular language. It means design was never been understood by a very wide range of customers. Design has never been really popular. Design has been for intellectual or something like that. So to put a figurative language into a design product was something revolutionary. And it changed completely the approach of, also the approach of the product of Alessi, in the sense that marketing people planned that this product has to sell, but the first year it was sold 10 times more than what marketing people thought, and at the end it became the absolute bestseller in the history of design, the Girotondo family. And consider that when we went to when I went to Alberto Alessi to propose my project, was not only one project. The Girotondo was the first, but was a book of 60 sketches with only little man, which was declined all over the possible items that you have in the kitchen. For example, basket, like the Louis Vuitton brand that you cut off from the steel instead of paper. The little men were the little men of the child that cut off from the paper. So these are different versions of Girotondo in the second step, colorful. And after the Girotondo, there was a big discussion inside the company, also with marketing people, because marketing people were afraid that plastic, the discussion was about the role of plastic and the possibility for a company with the core business of steel to produce a plastic product. Of course, I understood that plastic could be a great chance for the company, because steel is a material that you can mold with certain difficulties. And while plastic could offer a real challenge to a designer to define and to design any kind of shape in a very free way. So when, after a long discussion with marketing people, we decided to go on with the first plastic collection, which came on the market in 1993. And this was my project, the Lilliput sand and pepper, which were two small animals with magnetic feet that you can place on the tray or on the bar, or the fruit mama, a fruit bowl with the shape of a plant which contains fruit, or looks also a hand. Sorry. This was a biscuit box with the top is a petit beurre biscuit, and in this case, for the first time, I put some flavor into the plastic. So when you open the packaging, you feel a vanilla flavor, and it's very interesting. Or, for example, the Merdolino was a product that became immediately very popular because it shows how design could enter in any kind of product. Also, the products that always were forgotten by design, like the toilet brush. Or the Magic Bunny, it's a rabbit who come out from the head of a magician. And in all these products there was a lot of research. For example, the Merdolino was the first application in the design context of a gas injection, of the technology of molding plastic and together with plastic some air enter inside the plant. Because this kind of thickness this kind of plant has a big thickness to be a plastic product. Usually plastic is 3-4 millimeters maximum. But in this case, the plant is empty. Or, for example, in this case of the rabbit, this is a special material where you can mold the plastic with big thickness without bubble inside. So we did a lot of research and experiment. And all these products, some journalists went to Apple, and in Apple this year there was all our products, because were some step of, important step of the research in the plastic context. This was the Chico. It's an egg cup where the head is a salt dispenser. You can take away the head, put the egg into the head, and after you can take the spoon to eat the egg. This product became immediately best-selling product and were collected by young generation. The most important goal for the plastic product was that with this product, Alessi changed his DNA. And for the first time, young people, the young generation, became collector of this product. This is a can opener called Can, like the dance of the Moulin Rouge.
Step one slide before, I think.
Okay. This is a scale, and a ship shape, it's a butter or marmalade container, where the chimney is a knife that you can use to spread the butter on your toast. Or, sorry. Okay. This is the Pinot. Pinot was a funnel, and in this case, the shape of Pinocchio was particularly create a particular relation with the nose of Pinocchio. Or Benny Brush is a shoe cleaner with a shape of a dog, where the central part rotate and the tie of the dog can move. Okay, this was Can, the can opener. Or Piripicchio, it's a close shaver that you can close, you can turn on and off, pushing the eyes of this small bird. Also, in this case, was an experiment about plastic, and I investigated the possibility to mold plastic with big thickness, creating a bubble inside. And the bubble are not came out in a random way, and of course it's not possible to understand, and each product is different from another, but in this case the bubble became part of the project. Here we are at in the 90s, the Apple, you can see the Apple computer were very colorful. And so the 90s are a period characterized by a growing of our economy. It was a very happy period for our economy. And the color expresses this kind of period. So it's a general feeling. While at the end of the 90s and the beginning of year 2000, we had the war in Iraq, we have the first big financial crisis, and the color disappeared. Disappeared in my work, disappeared in Apple, because it's a general feeling when you have a big changing in our economy. You can see here the product of Apple in the beginning of year 2000 without any color, transparent material, and after they start using aluminum or natural material, so with a feeling completely different with the feeling of the 80s. And also in my work, I started working with traditional material. And I designed very classic product, for example, the mummy pot, where the goal was to investigate the archetype of the pot. In this case, I tried to recognize the memory of the product. There was a discussion, very interesting, with Alberto Alessi about Heidegger, the German philosopher who created a theory about the thickness, cosicità della cosa, thickness of a thing. in this case, the pottericity of the pot. So which character could create the archetype of the pot representing at the best such kind of product in the communication with the common people. And to design this pot, I investigated the first ceramic pot and the handle of this pot coming from ceramic, and I succeeded at the end to obtain with steel what was in the beginning with ceramic. So a handle very soft, completely different from any kind of handle since that period. So this was the mummy pot, and the mummy pot became immediately a very successful product because it was not a design pot, it was really the pot of reference for all the context, so became the best-selling product in the Alessi catalog. The Girotondo in terms of number, the mummy in terms of turnover. And became a very wide family of products where I designed not only pots but also knife, pottery, knife, cutlery, and any kind of product for the kitchen and the table. A kettle. Of course, the memory of the product in this case was very important. And also in Il Bagno Alessi, I use ceramic, a very traditional material where it's very difficult. When you work with traditional material and you design a cutlery or a ceramic, innovation is very difficult. But in this case, I started from the idea of a stone when I designed the toilet. You can see this was the first design for the VC, and after what I did was just to take the stone and to put on the wall. So I refused to design the object. Always, all the object of this kind, all the ceramic for the bathroom are object with a lot of design, where, for example, they have a feet, they have a connection with the wall. In this case, I just take a stone and put on the wall. So it was a very simple action that gives a lot of power to the product itself. So this product became immediately very innovative. For example, there was no other product before with such kind of shape on the VC. And there was no other product before with, in case of the wash basin, with a freestand wash basin molded in only one piece. All these products were bowl and feet, two separate elements. And after today, there are hundreds of products of this range, but this was really the first. This was a general view of the collection. This was another product very successful, was the Bombo stool, which was for 5-6 years the most successful product in the design context. And it was a really happy case that the company has in a storage 1,000 pistons. So for this reason, they asked me to design a stool. And I designed the Bombo, and the Bombo immediately became the stool of reference. And if you see some movie like, for example, Lost in Space or Blade Runner, no, not Blade Runner, Star Wars, you can see the Bombo in this science fiction movie like one of the few real products in a context characterized by virtual reality. This was the Bombo chair with such kind of shape between Flintstone and so design, but also a little bit different. This was a chair which is really a 3D design of a chair, because was a chair where I spoke before about gas injection, where together with plastic some gas enter into the mold, into the object. In this case, the gas entered not only in the legs of the chair, and this is usual, but also on the seat and on the back. So it was the first case, it was a very innovative case in the production of gas injection chair, where the gas really enter into all the product, and the product assumes such kind of image, really three-dimensional. This was another chair which was based on the image of the Tonnet chair, but restyled with new transparent material, polycarbonate, with the colorful seat, which became the only solid element. And this was an armchair with the arm that you can revolve like a sculpture, and you can lay on a chaise longue, or you can close the arm and to put your arm on there. So it assumes some configuration different one to the other. These are some product I designed from Bondom, a Spanish company, in rotation molding. This is pillow. It's like a cushion who became a sofa. And you can add such kind of cushion which any individual product is composed by a cushion bended to create a seat and a back. This is another family called stone, like a stone where the seat is cut out. This is a third family of product called Blow, and this is a new one called Solid. This is injection molded. After we arrive in the first year 2000, when the spirit of globalization became more and more important. And of course, internet was a revolution. Our company started going to produce, Alessi, for example, and many Italian companies went to China to produce. And in our job, it was more and more frequent to be called in Asian country to have conference, to have some work. So in this case, I went to Taiwan. And in Taiwan, I meet the director of Taiwan Museum, which is the most important museum in Asia, containing all the masterpieces of Chinese art. And I had a visit to the museum with the director, and I was really astonished by the beauty of the work of the museum. And I told the director, it's a real pity that in Europe we don't know the museum and his work so much. And he asked me to to try to think something to promote the museum in Europe. So I thought to involve Alberto Alessi. I asked her to design the mascot of the museum, and Mr. Chin was the mascot. And I designed a family of products for Alessi, where in each product there was a leaflet illustrating the museum and the works of the museum. And it became very, very successful. All the products were produced in China, hand-painted, and they created a completely different new line also inside the catalog of the company. This was a following family called Orientales, which was based on Asian and Chinese icons, and working with material like ceramic, porcelain, and with such of decoration which are connected with a completely different worlds compared to our Western style. You can see the nuance of color. For example, in our contest, all the colors are flat. If you see toys, if you see any kind of product, all the colors are flat. If you go to Japan, or to China, or to Asia, all the color has a nuance, so have such kind of degradation and so on. This was a sushi set. And on the other side, we start working on technology, because the technology in the beginning was in Japan, after went to Taiwan, after in Korea, and after to China. So I follow with my work and with my client all these steps. In the beginning in Japan, where I used to go every month, after in Taiwan, Korea, and so on. And these were products for Alessi, also the possibility to produce in China, give them the possibility to extend the range of product in their catalog to domestic appliances that they couldn't produce in Italy, because if they produce in Italy such kind of product, where the cost became out of the market, was too expensive. In China it was possible. This is a kitchen scale, a duster, a toaster, a blender. This was a licensing operation between Alessi and Siemens. Siemens was the leading company for cordless phone, so I designed such kind of cordless phone. Also in this case, all the cordless phone that period was composed by a base, and the handset would fit vertically on the base. In this case, my intention was to integrate the base and the handset in only one shape. So this cordless phone became immediately quite different from all the other on the market. This was a project for a Hong Kong company, Oregon Scientific. In this case, I had the idea they are leader in this kind of typology, projection clock. I had the idea to create a projector independent from the base. All their products were, projector and base were connected. So I created the possibility to avoid into the base, and you can insert the sphere to charge it. And the sphere has a face which is cut in many different, and you can regulate in different directions. This was a mobile I designed for the leading network company in Japan, NTT Docomo, really a huge company. And this mobile was not a master of design, but was sold in 3 million pieces. This is another cordless phone, which I designed several years after the Siemens. And you can see how technology became smaller and smaller. And this product was very small. And in this case, I worked on the symmetry between the base and the top. While in the other one, the base was big and the top was inserted on the base. In this case was really mirrored one to the other. We used to design all the products, so we have communication with company where we exchange a 3D file of this level. For example, this project was a little bit complicated because you have a schedule here, and the schedule is inserted in a surface which is curved. So in this case, you really work on decimum of millimeter in order to reduce the shape, the handle to be ergonomically at the best and everything. And it's a long process where we and the engineer of the company communicates through 3D file, they correct, and after the prototype comes directly from the 3D file. This was another product which I designed from Alessi, and for Alessi and for a company producing electronics. In this case was a tablet for the kitchen, so it was not for traveling. And was important to put television and to put also very good speaker. You can see the speaker here. So the shape of the product is not anymore a flat tablet, but it's a L shape, where the back contains the speaker and some electronics, and the front contains the display. This is a product I designed for Samsung and Google. It was the first collaboration between the two giants in electronics and in internet, and was a smart box which you plug on television and allow you to see to go to internet in your television. This is another project I designed for Toto, the leading company in bathroom. This kind of bathroom is called washlet. It's very popular in Asia, especially in Japan. And Toto is the top producer of washlet. Is the biggest Japanese company working in toilet. And in this case, I started from an existing engine, and we had a lot of a very long process of studying how to move the components in order to obtain such kind of organic and fluid shape. This was also an innovative project I designed for Elica, the leading company in kitchen hood, and was the first kitchen hood made in plastic. Of course, plastic is not the suitable, the best material because it is in contact with fire on the top of your fire of your kitchen. But in this case, we could find a special material which could be used for the kitchen hood, and I designed such kind of sphere which is cut on the top, and you can insert in the front the filter that you can take away from the hole and the light all around. This was another, it's an oven. The characteristic is to have the front all in glass. So the handle and the front panel is only glass. This is a kitchen I designed for Veneta Cucine, one of the biggest companies in Italy producing kitchen furniture. And in this case, the idea of this product was to create the top with a flexible material that you can open in one step. So consider that all this part open in one, and after there is another box that you can open very easily instead of having these standard doors. And these are different configurations which create different iconic kitchen obtained by the same kitchen furniture. For example, this configuration was very particular and very innovative. It was called flipper because remember the shape of a flipper. And in this case, the fridge is on the back, which is placed on the wall. There is a metal on the top, and anyway, all of this kind of soft, smooth corner, especially in this product, which is the island, where you can place this object between, also in your living room, which is not disturbing, and it's like a furniture that can divide the kitchen from the living room. This is a push chair that I designed for Kiko, a leading company in Italy for child product. And in this case, we create a particular extrusion which could create a very flat product. This is the Pandalessi, where I restyled the classic Giugiaro Panda, creating an Alessi version with this white strip on the bottom. Also the wheel has such kind of white circle, who remember the rubber wheels of the 50s. There is an antenna with a light which sign your passage in the city. And I designed many details inside and outside the car. This is a chronograph for Pulsar. It's a company from the Seiko group, where in this project the idea was the bracelet and the way to combine steel and plastic, which neither company did before. And I create, in this case, they produce this bracelet, creating injection molding pieces ABS, and after they co-injected the rubber, and after they close with the steel pieces. This was a mobile phone I designed for KDDI, another big Japanese network brand. In this case, the idea was to create a face where the eyes could be an element of communication. Could be a display, but also can give you some function, for example, time, or for example, if your girlfriend call you a hurt, can come out and beat, or messages. Unfortunately, this product was, I think, a huge success, could be a huge success in Japan, but when I was designing this product, the Apple iPhone came out. So all the Japanese company decided to stop the shell typology, and this project at the end didn't went to the market. Their request, their briefing was to create the mobile phone and accessories. So in this case, I create some different set. Each set has different accessories. For example, in this case, the tatami, which was the charger, and the lamp, which we connected to the plug. Or in this case, a fox and the trunk, the little bird for the strap. Or in this case, the plug was a fish, and the charger was the boat. Or this small earth was some hair phone, and the dog was the plug. And I imagine to leave the plug out with the possibility in a shop window. They have a fantastic, IADE has the most fantastic shop in the center of Tokyo, and I imagine their shop window with all this product moving. All the eyes were moving, and unfortunately the iPhone destroyed this project. This is a project for SodaStream, a leading company in the production of, this is a purified water, which give you the possibility not only to obtain the purified water, but hot water till 90 degrees, cold water, very cold, and water with gas. You can regulate the level of the temperature and the level of CO2 that you want, so more gas or less gas. And it's a product that could be very, very important because you don't need anymore to buy plastic bottle. So when we discuss about eco-sustainability, please take a product like that and avoid to discuss about the damage of plastic and the pollution of plastic. Because consider that the PET bottle are the main production in plastic and in pollution. In all this product, we have to move to work, moving the internal components and to balance between the shape and the inner part to find the optimization, reducing the volume and finding the best combination of the components. This was a mobile phone I designed for the startup of one of the biggest Chinese company, ZTE, and this was a new company called Nubia. This was a mobile. When I designed this mobile, I succeeded to change the position of the camera and the shape of the components. So this became the thinnest mobile on the market, 1.5 millimeter less than the iPhone of that period. And this mobile was more expensive than the iPhone, but it has the best camera and the best display compared to all the other smartphones on the market. So they sold 1,800,000 of this product in China, and also Xi Jinping's wife bought this mobile, and her picture with the Nubia phone became a very famous and a very important argument for advertisement. These are some other mobile I designed for ZTE. This was a vacuum cleaner for Samsung. And this was a smart glasses, which you know has the same technology of the Google Glass, but different materials, and the possibility to bend it. After the crisis of 2008, of course, came out a new eco-sustainable movement, which, and also the research about material offered to the designer many different possibility, adopting recycled material or any kind of different material. Eco-sustainability in some cases became an argument of advertisement. For example, this is a family I designed for L'Oreal, and L'Oreal produced shampoo and products for hairdresser, and they want to promote the naturality of their product. So they asked to the company who created their shop to work only with eco-sustainable material. So all the material we used to create this system of furniture were eco-sustainable material, class A. For example, the soya for the soft inside the armchair, or the wood, and so on. This is another work in such kind of context. It was a work for a Chinese company producing electric scooter. And we gave them a complete range of product, a new catalog of product in designing the scooter in different directions. For example, the first one was the traditional scooter for the city. This one was more sporty, or this one was for a higher target, or this was a cargo, because in China also to carry product was very important, and we studied the possibility to charge a lot of stuff. Also, in this case, to carry pizza, or with this kind of rubber, which created such kind of strong cross. Or this one more funny with the rabbit hairs. This is a work we did recently for a company producing energy, and we designed a wind turbine. A wind turbine seems a simple product, but inside there are a lot of stuff. So consider that some people has to enter, and inside there are a lot of components. So to design a turbine is anyway like in the case I showed before of SodaStream, or it means to find the right combination between the internal component in order to design a shape which could be suitable with such kind of disposition. In this case, they asked us to design new turbine because they changed the cooling system from water to air. So these are the new turbine of a new generation. And another point is that 2 years ago I created my brand, Kibu, and this is the flagship product of the brand, the rabbit chair. You can see the silhouette of the chair, and you can sit putting your back on the air of the rabbit, or you can ride the rabbit on the opposite side. And we found also the possibility to create, we are the only company in the world who succeeded to create such kind of metallic surface on polyethylene. In polypropylene, there are other companies, but polyethylene, nobody did before. And you can see that polyethylene is special to create sculpture or a product with void inside, because rotation molding is something that works like this. And this product became a real sculpture with a very strong appealing with metal finishing. Here you can see the rabbit, who is the standard for the mother and the smaller for the child. This is another installation for Biennale Design Museum I created last year, and was an exhibition for child, and the name was Giro Giro Tondo. This was the entrance. I put a big face of Quadratino, was a comic, a caricature of the 30s. Some people thought it's Pinocchio because there is this bridge, but the inspiration was Quadratino, which is a caricature designed by Rubino. And inside the exhibition there were big objects which contains different sections. This was the entrance with the iconic design related to figurative and narrative language out of scale, which creates a feeling like Alice in Wonderland. And there was all around a black mirror which reflected at the infinite the big object inside. These were some installation in China, in the Summer Palace in Beijing, with 500 rabbits with light. This is another one of the last creation, the Kong lamp, with an arm that you can revolve up and down with a flash which can illuminate. And this was an installation we created in Milan, in Statale, which was the most photographed and the most mediatic image of the fair this year. And this is a new exhibition I'm designing in this moment in Seoul, with all the objects of the narrative and figurative language. I was the first to start this kind of approach in design. Today I am very happy because I could create this exhibition where many designers following this kind of language, this kind of figurative approach. So this exhibition is a sort of point of the situation of the narrative and figurative language and the top of the status of art, and I think will be a very, very interesting and a very innovative vision of the new design. Coming back to the theme of your transgression, when I designed this kind of product for Alessi, it was a scandal. So we were in a complete period where minimalism was at the top, and I received all the critics from a lot of designers, journalists. After, I am very happy today to show what such kind of approach became today, not only with me, but with a very wide and top range of designer, and I think in this exhibition will be the synthesis of this approach. So transgressive is something that help you to see the future and to understand new possibility that as creative people we have always